All of you have made this choice to be here on this day of teaching. This day goes beyond the 20th to the 23rd. There's an official time that it's solstice, but those are for those people that want only to do it on that strictness of hardcore level. You can do your solstice on the 27th of December or the 19th of January. It will be your intent that drives the ceremony. Welcome everyone to a solstice event. We've got some special stuff lined up for everyone. Everybody just come in for just a moment. Let your energies relax. This is the solstice. So I want to thank everyone that's been new to the material, the people that have been around for a while, that have been doing these solstice ceremonies on your own. Welcome everyone. So everyone, this is a grand celebration. A celebration on this very day, the shortest and yet could be the longest day of the year. It's when we choose to engage no time at a whole new frequency, when we choose to engage our spiritual courage at the next greatest level that says, oh my, what wonders have we ready to conceive? So sit back, relax. I've got some special things that I want to present. This first thing is about intent and the quest for vision. Many people that are doing their solstice ceremonies are looking for clarity. They're looking for illumination. They're looking for what helps them at the greater level understand what they're going through. Or they find themselves mired in mediocrity, wanting to strive for something bigger and greater in their life. But all they have is the mediocrity that they've earned through being nothing, are not able to get past because something is continuously blocking you. Our focus is the greatest power of our spirit, and choosing to engage focus with direct intent is the vision quest within itself. So contemplate these words. What I'm about to read here is a medicine expression, one that is coming from the shamanic world, that is about this very time of year, about this very hyper expression of what is going on. The medicine of the moment slows the perception of present life to a single frame of reference. All points of understanding now take the eternal side. A vision of smoke signals raises on the horizon, comes into view. These smoke signals signal the spread, the understanding, where these signals were coming from the ancients when the fellow clans lived great distances away. It was the first long-distance communication grid, The very nature of smoke signals was used to show intent before a shaman or council elder would visit another tribe's territory. Smoke signals were additionally used to tell people in the Sky Nation of births or marriages between clans. The web of life we live in is the invisible pattern known as the dreamweave. New senses of patterns are coming into this right moment now. These patterns are directly connected to the course of action in the state of being that you are, who is looking for their own personal vision on this day of change, this day of interaction with your grand fire ceremony. To use the smoke, you must build a fire, or more specifically, a passion fire that is deep within inside you, one that says, I am ready to let out the rings of communication to the dreamweave with the power of interacted smoke and fire. These patterns shows who choose to observe you, what the nature of your intent is, by empowering that smoke during these grand ceremonies of the self. You get the opportunity to speak the sky language of the great cloud brothers, who will find their way to you in the unspoken language between the bridge of two worlds. This bridge has come to you in the now. It asks you to see it what it is, a path paved with good intent. The power of the smoke signals rests within your fire tender's hands. The method of unspoken prayers are brought to the great sky nation and the winged creatures when you call upon them in their sky homes. Smoke messages travel to the sky nation and beyond. Smoke is what carries our prayer and our intent to the great mystery, the great spirit, all that is, was, and ever will be. It is within your path of choice in the mighty co-creative moment of now to interact with those powers, to interact with that mantle of responsibility. In today's energy, suddenly the turn to the south, the representation of the shortest day right at this moment of now. The innocence of your inner child awaits here, and the southern shield marks its time to return to the childlike nature you all once had. That is the purpose of these grand ceremonies, to find yourself in the childlike innocence with the adult mind interacting with the spirit of prayer and expression of life force. The inner child asks, can you go without the computer, the alarm clock? It will ask you to play on the swings and let ecstasies fill you from the freedom to the brim. The southern shield is powerful medicine if you choose to engage your focus with it this year, this upcoming year, and in the many years to come. Smoke signals combine the acts of teacher spirits of the youth. When one of the youth combines with the adulthood and engages the spirit signal of smoke, you will find the power within your special fire. A great power from your youth is choosing to return. It's now clear this power returned because of the smoke, the weaving of the signals in your dream time. Choose to allow your dream time to have one more day of adult life. Think about that. Before your youth disappears, the wonder of life's beauties enter their heart space. Soon, sarcasm takes over the innocent child. And when youth truly disappears, ego begins the fear of loss of self-esteem and wreaks havoc on the most carefully laid plans. Fear can destroy the smoke signals of intent. Fear can chase the little child away. The Great Spirit created all creature kind with their own sacred space, with their own gifts, their own abilities. Choose to use your abilities on this day in a greatest format. The child within also has a serious side. He wants you, she wants you to know sometimes we get disillusioned. And when you allow the greater innocent child out at these special fires, your great understandings will come. For the power of the southern shield is within your hand. Should you choose to let the child play with the fire stick. Let the child play at the energies there. Not all ceremonies are to be stern and at attention, waiting for the hierarchical motions of the shamans. It's your sacred place. Instill comedy Instill laughter, instill joy in the natures of all of your ceremony. So the medicine of the moment will not be whooshed aside by some serious thought that takes you down a mind trail that doesn't allow the innocent and inner child to be a part of your wonderful ceremony. The winds find their moments, and the smoke signals, they're whooshed away. The spirit winds are whirling something fierce, something serious. They howl to your medicine, to the vision quest that you chose when you decided you wanted to have a ceremony on this grand solstice day. You, the individual person of the now, made that greater choice. I want to engage with these higher frequencies. I want it to be a part of my life. Great Mystery has given you permission right now through your medicine helpers to come to you in vision form. You have earned this right by making this choice. The quest is yours to undertake anytime or to stop multiple times over many years. This quest will be your rite of passage to see the many worlds we have woven in countless lifetimes before. The vision quest is the tool seekers have most often used since the dawn of consciousness, where they put themselves on the greater focus for the greater good of their own self-healing, self-nurturing, and greater wisdom of understanding. Those who seek the vision quest must physically and spiritually prepare for many challenges and obstacles set up by the self. During the quest, the seeker fasts for gaze to cleanse himself of daily needs. The quester to the spirit of the animal, the tree, the stone, the moon, the stars, and the ancestors who appear are medicine allies. Those that appeared during the vision quest will be your personal medicine on the good red road of life. This path is not easy, nor is it insurmountable. We are the willing co-creators. We choose the difficulty level of each and every quest we go upon. So when you greet your grand fire ceremonies, you say, hello, friend fire. I am your friend today in sacred energies. Now is the time to prepare yourself for your vision quest from fire to fire, moment to moment, world to world. Ask your medicine allies for their assistance in your spirit walk. Seeking your personal awareness is the key to understanding why we choose to quest and find. Remember, when seeking answers, we must release confusion and doubt, then proceed, allowing your spirit's internal truth push in the reality. Seeking your personal awareness is the key to understanding why we choose to quest and find. Remember, when seeking answers, we must release confusion and doubt, then proceed, allowing your spiritual truth to emerge from the void of great mystery. Be willing to accept and recognize the truth when it comes to you. Recognition and acceptance always precede inner knowing. Sometimes we get answers we do not like. Do not try to edit those answers. Let them be what they are. Continue to seek, and life will present you with new ideas for your ever-evolving, sacred, neutral point of view. Powerful energies right now. Now, the next things that I would like to talk about is what a martyr is. Many of you have listened to me, have heard me go on and on about zealots and martyrs. The upcoming year, between this solstice and the next solstice, is going to be a personal litmus test challenge to each and every one that's out there. It will not be about how many fire ceremonies you do. It will be not about how high into the galactic you go. It'll be about the fetus in this heart right now. How much you can begin to remember from your own personal quest to discover your own inner vision of the stream of light that started. This day, today, these videos that you have watched are by design to help you go back to the greatest moments before your birth, to see the dream you created and entered into, to see the dream world that is this world in duality and separation, to learn about non-duality, non-separation, non-hierarchical order. Allow these to be a part of your next 6 months of contemplation. And each and every time you go to your sacred fire, your inner motto, your mantra is, I am a non-competitional, non-hierarchical order, non-duality, non-separation, photonic being of light, sovereign in every action that I do, making sacred without a priest class defining what I do and where I go, unique with my own hyper expression and the connection to the earth, and one who chooses to accept red time, blue time. Red is the infrared world we live in. Blue is the spirit world. When red and blue come together, they create the solar plexus chakra, that yellow frequency. That is what keeps us here in the now. And that is the color that greets the fire when you come to your sacred synchronicities. And that is what comes back to you in your own personal sacred synchronicities. The teaching here is, when you see that fire, watch the colors. Watch the great mystery through those patterns. Say your prayers to those fire like you actually mean it. Engage your placebo. Engage the sacred discipline. As I was talking about the martyr, there was a frequency there. One where I was pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing for two reasons. One, there is a tremendous amount of resistance in our world for people creating their own sacred energy. And two, many human beings who go to create their own sacred energy find themselves on a land that is full of all this need right now for someone to take up the mantle of responsibility and assist them at letting go nature, because we are a part of their web of life. And when we choose to engage sacred energy, our unseen world, the entourage of spirits that are always around us, are in the greatest forms of action, like messengers and deliverers. Just by having that fire, you are assisting the macrocosm and the microcosm that's around you in the regular exchange of earth life force. By being the heart space giver to that energy of the fire, be willing to tell your wisdom to that story of fire, so that when it is shared with the all, we understand we truly are creating it all through our interconnected web of life. This is the power of each and every fire ceremony that you can do at any moment if you should choose. The martyr. When you remove yourself from all expressions of what martyrdom can be in any way, shape, or soul expression, you get back to the true neutrality that you have full control over your contrast, full control over your polarity, and at any moment in time or no time, you can make decisions that diffuse polarity and return you back to the sacred neutral balance of the I am presence with the unified ancestors of the past and the present and the future. A part of your choice point is in the now. For when we make these choices to be the martyr, we change our ancient future, we change our ancient present, and we change our ancient past into polarity. That means those of the past will try to use their power to get back to true neutrality, that you do have full control over your contrast, full control over your polarity. And at any moment, you can make the decision to diffuse the polarity and return back to sacred neutral I am presence with the unified ancestors of the past, the present, and the future as a part of your choice point now. The martyr at every scale is choice points. For when we make that choices to be the martyr, we change our ancient future, we change our ancient present into the polarity. The truth of what the martyr is doing, it is resolving another I am's purpose. This is where we hear about how past lives begin to affect us in our present lives, things that bleed through our special little DNA. These days of high fire ceremony is where you clear something known as your vagus nerves. Inside the vagus nerve is the central processing system for your parasympathetic. for those that have heard the teachings in the DNA, for those that have heard the teachings about the sympathetic and the parasympathetic, this is where you understand the martyr exists literally inside your vagus nerve. This is where you can go with heart-spaced forgiveness and the shining light of your heart and illuminate your vagus nerve. Reach out a bit beyond instant gratification. Google what the vagus nerve is. See an image of it and guide your own thoughts through your own fire ceremony to clear out whatever is causing issues with you relating to the martyr. To let go of the martyr, you send it back to the temple of the self so it can go to its own personal healing chamber, so it can connect to the heart, reconnect to the dream, and reconnect to the prayers you are creating in this fire ceremony. In interconnectivity, you will reconnect all parts of the I am soul that was born with the will to live and the internal fortitude to survive and thrive and not be entangled into the bullshit of karma or a world full of soulless systems that truly do not want to help us. Get out of the ego. Get out of the sympathetic. Get out of all of those things that eliminate energy from you. That is the greater purpose of the I am in divine co-creative powers of right now. Now, many have been trying to think about taking a journey for their solstice. Journeys must be prepared. Not everyone can be a master of the no plan plan. And some of you right now are giggling to yourself who have been on the no plan plan. That's when you're allowing spirit and you're honoring yourself by co-creating the path of spirit without full knowledge of what's to come, allowing the synchronicities to grow in front of you. Many of you want bullet-pointed concepts of what to do at each fire. Innately, you should know. With inside your knowingness right now, you have built 10 billion fires in other lifetimes. Before there were matches, before there was gasoline, before there was paper, where you had to find was out in nature and a flint and a piece of steel from the river or someplace that you mined. Before there was naphtha or any other kinds of refined animal fats that were burned, the original caveman, that was magic. Fire can be that magic to you again. You have to engage it for the next level of the experience. The most important thing you can learn about fire shamaning is stop hoping for outcomes you cannot control. Okay? As long as you're creating hope in the ancient future by a controlling outcome, you aren't being present here in the now. You aren't being a part of this ancient present. And that it can be a dishonorment to your fire when you are thinking about the future and not about the present. You are playing in the future with hope. Hope springs eternal and helps us to go through creation. But there are times when hope becomes toxic. And during your fire ceremonies is where you should go through the extended process of what's in your potential and to find out what are you sticking to hope with. What do you need to let go of this year? When you make that individual choice to stop controlling outcomes and allowing the divine forces to work through yourself, to work through you, the great and incredible and mystical things happen in everyday life. Throughout countless generations, authors, singers, writers, and socialites have said the same thing. When you get out of your own way, the mystical happens. The mystical. All of you have made this choice to be here on this day of teaching. This day goes beyond the 20th to the 23rd. There's an official time that it's solstice, but those are for those people that want only to do it on that strictness of hardcore level. You can do your solstice on the 27th of December or the 19th of January. It will be your intent that drives the ceremony. Take that into deep heart. Let's say you did a solstice ceremony and the January 13th comes around and it's a not so heavy day. Bring that experience back. That is the power of these no-time, cyclical ceremonies that are bringing the highest frequency of living the mystical way. the mystical way of your own life, a way set in actions that are part of your spiritual agenda. And your spiritual agenda right now doesn't need to use hope as the only process of living. Think about that. By stopping subtle control and allowing co-creation back within the moment of now, you'll truly understand how to move forward with your ceremonies. Being in this hyper frequency now, not just being poetical, but knowing the nature of the poetry, your spiritual poetry. The contract revocations have their rhythm, their rhyme, their moments of great high power, and their moments of challenging. So now I'm going to challenge you with the next teaching. Instant gratification. Is a fire ceremony an instant gratification process? The answer is it should never be an instant gratification process if you are taking it sacred. Many of you have heard me turn the term, when you have earned the right, gifts will be waiting for you in the spiritual world. Instant gratification of the process is the process of getting something, but not accepting the gifts in the spirit world. You saw the exchange of energy for whatever it was. That in essence is distilled hope. I really want people to truly understand the time that is here now isn't for hope anymore. 2012 is past. 5 years. Nothing's going to happen tomorrow. Nothing's going to happen the day after. The UFOs aren't going to come down. No one is going to rescue us but ourselves. This has been the ancient pattern over and over and over and over again. When will we step out of the mired mediocrities and get into the power of our self-ceremony, beyond the moments of instant gratification, where the great fullness of our experiences can be with you? What is your sacred pilgrimage to the fire? Is it an instant gratification process? I ask him this for a reason. I want you, at moments of the fire, to have these genius moments, to discover the sacred tunnels within your heart. By seeing the veins of the fire, realizing the veins of your heart, the veins and arteries going through the wholeness of our body, there is the first journey to the fire. To make it a part of you. To see that fetus in the womb of your own heart, combined with the fire. That is one of the greatest mystical spots that countless seekers to knowledge have been looking for since the dawn of spiritual seeking. Throughout every DNA species that uses a fetus in a womb as its method of propagation. Here is where we connect to the infinite dream stream that is us. And here is where we must learn in our spirit fires. There are times we were a little martyrish. There are times we were a little uppity. There are times that this or that, with whatever label. Here, in the fetus in the womb, inside the heart, with the fire, is where we learn and relearn how not step on the journeys of others. In your own journeying process, you will learn why you need to plan, even when you don't want to plan, and why you need to begin to understand what the difference between one part of yourself and the other is. The sympathetic, the parasympathetic, the protector version of you, the angelic being that is there, the ancestral guides, the unseen world. Your ceremonies are meant to acknowledge the unseen world, to allow them have a moment, to lower the frequency of the fabric of reality so the dream weave can come through and send messages to your heart space that truly connect to the greater you. It is your choice today to include some of these extra techniques and processes. By not stepping on another's journey, and allowing your own journey to go forth, by not stepping on your own journey, by getting out of your own way, you will be able to make another sovereign healer version of yourself You could meet that version that has been waiting for you to come out of the moments and co-create on a new level. That is what all of these expressions are really about. Co-creating on a new level. Our DNA technology was never meant to not function in co-creation. That is why we need companions. That's why we need helpers. Our seen world and unseen world have their own companions and helpers. Fire ceremonies are where you begin to synthesize those expressions on a greater scale, allowing the hyper you to be a part of the hyper now. It's the greatest intrinsic intuitive of the moment of now. Everything is here in these grand moments. By choosing to be a part of the grand moments, whole new processes can come into us. By being in a fire ceremony, you have brought your body into it. When we bring the body as part of the co-creation, we can create a unique sovereign piece of ourself that functions for the body, that works with our healers in the spirit world. It's our translator. It's our spiritual alarm clock person, our spiritual calendar person. So many of you have this inner challenge of not creating another sovereign piece because you're trying to bring it all in because of what the system, of what the light worker industry has said about soul shards here and there and everything. There are times you need to create that piece. On these equinoxes and solstices are the days that you do that. With many weeks of a sacred pilgrimage that lead up to creating the energy of that little piece so it functions for you the rest of the year. Just like a personal spiritual assistant. Okay? You can create that. One that knows all the light languages. One that can distill the message from varieties of entourage of beings that are coming to visit you for whatever reason. That's the same thing that you can say. Please, will you make sure my dreaming self researches this information and make sure I try to remember it or has synchronicities. This is where you can begin to program your precognitive self during these ceremonies. If you choose to throw yourself the lifeline, to create your own version of your own healing self that has all the skills of the Akashic record, all the skills of every being you have ever been before as a healer is available to you as a guide in no time, in your sacred protected place, so that when you begin to journey, you do not step on the journeys of others. You have availability of calling upon a healer if you should choose to do it in your spiritual journeys. That is the advantage of creating that extra piece. You're off dreaming on a mission and you get hurt. The innate you can call upon that healing piece that you created during the high frequency energy ceremonies. That's like an emergency spiritual technician driving up in an ambulance, putting you in the back and keeping away all the spiritual lawyers from trying to put contracts on you. Choose this to make a part of your greater hyper frequencies. There are times we all have to make greater decisions. Greater decisions in our uniqueness of life. Recently, in my own fire ceremonies, I have had my own set of visions. Visions that have defined me as Andrew, the Galactic Historian. They have all come out on a whole new level. I brought in my fire ceremony an 18-month business plan, read out the whole process that I could, created a future, used all the talents, skills, and abilities and skills I had. And before this show and before I went and did my ceremony, the lead up were guided meditations weeks and months ahead of time that knew at some point I would be reaching this ceremonial state. Making sure that the being who came to the fire ceremony was empowered from my ancient past, who was using my focus of moment-to-moment living to make sure that the future moment-to-moment living had all of the power of the now. Now I'm going to ask you, Are you ready to take the power of now to a new level? You've heard about creating your own little sovereign piece. So here's the suggestion, a recipe. When you enter the sacred fire, you build it up. You get the fire as big as you personally can get it. And then you begin moving your hands like you're drumming on the fire. 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Begin sending energy, pulse energy at it. Tell your story to the fire, your victories. Tell them of your defeats. Tell them of what you've learned. Sing them a song. Do something that is an exchange of energy of the truth and innocent you. And as you build up your aura, as you build up that fire connection frequency, you say, fire, help me co-create right now. I look for your warmth to engage my body, to let down. So the spirit can create an intense spiritual moment that is synchronistic to the needs of the now. The need of the now is to have an assistant in the spirit seen and the unseen world that can be the positive voice of understanding, the teacher and healer spirit that I've been looking for. I call upon my greatest ancestral guides of the Galactic Central Sun and Universal Central Sun to come and be a part of this unique experience, to help guide me in the days, weeks, months, and years to come with wisdom, with understandings, by not stepping on my journey, and I will not step on the journey of the Great Spirit. As a humble man, as a woman, I ask that we come in equal co-creation to the advancement of this sovereign peace, so I may truly learn the intricacies of what needs to be programmed into my reality, from ceremony to ritual to ceremony to focus to intent to guided understanding to engaging the sacred discipline. So living the mystical life is a daily process, not something that one just puts on the schedule and does. There are others that if they do not put it on the schedule, they will never get it done. This next part is for you, the no plan planners, who may have lost the plan of the no plan, and you aren't truly being guided by the no plan anymore. You're guided from shiny to shiny to shiny to shiny to bright energy to bright energy. When you set down a ceremonial fire, you are realigning yourself to north, south, east, and west, in the 7 directions, above and below and within. You are retuning yourself to the position and place that you are in space-time. That's not a bad thing. That is a frame of reference, the dreaming body, the spirit body, and the entourage that's around you trying to help you plan your life needs that coordinates. The sovereign piece that you're going to make is the doer, the planner. They're going to get out of the mired understandings of the no plan and get into a plan, an action plan, so that spirit understands exactly what it is that you want to do. That is your solstice. To write that spiritual action plan that engages the spiritual beings, the guides, the guardians, all of the hyper frequencies to be a part of reality, not just in protection for yourself or your family, but to actually create change in the world that uses your energy for positive change that does not step on the journey of others. In non-competition and non-hierarchical order, there are a million strategies that can be done that can change this world that do not engage counter strategies back to us. It's the genius mind that must engage the consciousness to understand how the reality works when engaged in sacred fire. That is choosing to engage in non-hierarchical order, a strategy that uses spirit as part of a guidance to help deconstruct the world of distraction around you. These fires are that alchemical process on many different layers, on many different processes. Choose it. Now, I want to do a closing moment. Every solstice, every ceremony must have a beginning, a middle, and an end. This is a ceremony for me and myself. There's a greater ceremony going outside and a greater ceremony that's gone on for myself for the last 90 days. The preparation that got here. So over the next day for myself will be the closing of several dozen ceremonies that were intimately started in my implicate order many months ago, each with a guided, directed purpose to reach an end date between the 21st and 23rd of December. I want you all to think about that. Can you start the fuse for the January, June, July, August ceremonies? So when you have your next equinox, your next solstice, your next bigger date you're going to plan for, can you have parts of yourself making sure that you get there, that you've done enough personal empowerment to your future selves? Can you reclaim the power away from the system that's trying to stop you from planning or stopping you from creating the greater parts of yourself? Today, in this moment of now, I acknowledge the greater mind and spirit here in the present me. Having created dozens of journeys over scores of weeks, I now choose to bring to an ending process this previous year, this previous 5 years, this previous 10 years, this previous 20 years, this previous 42 years, all the way back to a fetus in the womb. I, this being, on this moment of now, as part of this greater micro and macro ceremony, end this frequency of a year and accept the frequency of a new year that is going to be gaining and growing with light. I shall gain and grow with light. I have learned from the passing of the seasons and the movement of the stars, the light is the transference of wisdom from our grandfather sun. I honor grandfather sun on this day of this year, in this moment of now, by witnessing his waxing and waning and our expansion and contraction of knowledge and wisdom. With this said, in the ever-present moment of now, that which is this year ceases to be, and that which is the future year begins to be now. As the I am, dreaming being, master of the moment now, I engage every act to actualize potential that I have ever created in the dreaming of the future year. For this very ceremony I've created has helped me create a future year, a future that I am a divine co-creator of without the imprint of forced evolution. Thank you, Great Spirit. Thank you, the four-legged, the winged, the eagles, the hawks, the birds, the bees, the ducks, and the dinosaurs. Thank you, ancestors. Thank you, seen and unseen world. Thank you, universals and galactics and extra-universal beings, extra densities, all that they're here in the seen and unseen world, and all of the entourages out there. The end has begun, and the beginning is now. Thank you, and I'll see you again. Each different bubble of reality is true.
A Galactic Historian is a person that looks at all the lines of dramatic karma.
Nudge, nudge. It's the Holy Grail.
Improvise. Mysterious. It's counter psychic intelligence.
Why is DNA farming of this star cluster so important?
Because we do manifest our reality. We do create our reality.
hello, let's create, let's co-create, and let's change this world with love. No matter if you're from Alpha Centauri or Earth, we all began with the same birthing process. We live in a limited point of view. Living the mystical life daily is about striving for the unlimited point of view. Each day, each human being gets an infinite amount of choices. Living the mystical life daily is about facing obstacles and challenges. The level of awareness that you are working at means you have a responsibility to be equal with it. How does one truly let go of expectation? You can make the moment that you wake up to the moment you go to sleep sacred. The keys to success: choice, 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 and choice.